buenos días, clase. ¿Cómo están todos ustedes hoy?
Bien, gracias. ¿Y tú?
Well, hoy les quiero platicar de por qué es muy importante saber español. So, how many of you guys just knew exactly word by word what I just said? Okay, well, that's only like 5 of you. So, today I would like to let you guys know why learning Spanish is really beneficial and really important in today's day. To start off, here are a few facts and statistics I found on HuffingtonPost.com about knowing Spanish and how it can benefit you. So by 2050, the U.S. will be the largest Spanish-speaking country. That was according to Humberto Lopez. He is a General Secretary of the Association of Spanish Academies. Another one is, according to the Census Bureau, about 12% of the U.S. residents speak Spanish at home. So that is right now. So the majority of people right now are speaking Spanish at home, and the Spanish language is growing. So as a result of the rising numbers of jobs require Spanish, or at least individuals who speak Spanish. So for jobs, like this is actually, I didn't have this in my speech, so I'm just gonna say it out of what happened, because I have a job interview right after class today, and right now I work at Chipotle, but this job they pay $20 an hour. And they want someone who speaks fluent Spanish, and so not everyone has the opportunity of getting a job that pays $20 an hour, and someone who speaks really fluent Spanish and fluent English, which is I speak both fluent and English and Spanish. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there to back up my point about why Spanish can help you for jobs, because they want people who speak Spanish because the Latino population is growing. So I believe that learning Spanish in today's day is crucial because, like I said, the Latino population is growing, which Spanish is growing everywhere. You probably go to the mall and you hear Spanish people, like Mexicans or Latinos or whatever, talking in Spanish, and you're probably wondering, like, oh, like, what are they saying, or like, if you can help them out or something. Lost my train of thought. So another example I had was last summer I went to USC for a physician assistant program meeting. I wanted to get information on how I could get into that program, and what the USC professors told me was that they need, one of the requirements that's really important, he said, was to know Spanish. So you need to take 3 years of Spanish, was it 3? Oh, sorry, 1 full year of Spanish and 2 years of being able to speak it and write it fluently, because they want doctors who are going to be able to communicate with their patients and residents who speak Spanish. So that was one of the prereqs. I think Spanish should be taught in elementary school, so by the time they get to high school and college, they'll be more familiar with the language, and they'll be able to speak it almost fluently. Here's another statistic I found. It says, it was on newamerica.org. It was by 2050 again, 10% of the world population will be speaking Spanish, and the United States will be the biggest Spanish-speaking country. According to a 2009 survey by the U.S. Census Bureau, Spanish is the primary language spoken at home by over 35.5 million people by the age 5 or older. Obviously learning Spanish is helpful, and it's going to help you communicate with people. Also, like when I was doing my clinicals at a convalescent home as a nursing assistant, I was the one able to translate for doctors what the patients wanted and what their medications was going to be, and to be able to communicate with their residents' families as well. Because the doctors didn't know Spanish because they were just Asian, or they were like a different race and they didn't know Spanish. So I was there to help them translate and to let the families know what was going to be going on with their mothers or their fathers. And my teacher, my professor at that moment, she was like really happy for me. She was really proud. She was like, we need more people who speak Spanish. And so that's why I decided to do my speech on this. Lastly, here are a few more statistics to convince you guys that Spanish here is growing and that you should learn it. The Spanish population in the United States has grown by 60% in just 1 decade. At present, there are 35.5 million Hispanics representing 12.5% of the total population. So the Hispanics are now the first minority of the population here. And I believe that in California it's growing more because we're right next to the border, so people are like coming over. Illegally or legally, I'm not sure, but they're coming over. So, and here's one from the Census Bureau, that and 28.8 million of the projected Hispanic population of the United States in 2060 is going to be, so according to this projection, the Hispanic population will constitute 31% of the nation's population. So that's a lot. That's almost half of the population is going to be Hispanic. And I also learned this in my political science class. My teacher was telling us that like Latino population is growing and that they should, I don't know, all this Republican and Democrat stuff, that the Republicans should get the Hispanic population on their side because we're outnumbering like the other races and population. So with all those facts being said, I believe that the Latino population is growing rapidly, and I hope I convinced you guys to take a Spanish class and know Spanish so it can help you for your jobs or anything it can help you with. I promise you it'll get you like a better position at a job, and it'll be easier and fun to learn. So knowing a second language isn't only helpful, but it is easier. I mean, it is fun to learn. Thank you.
Raul, share us your thoughts.
Her thesis was speaking Spanish is beneficial because of our Spanish, the Spanish-speaking people are growing. Her information was kind of everywhere. Like she had a thesis, but she didn't really map out like a preview. I needed a better preview. She used a lot of personal examples, which I'm guessing it helped to connect because of I speak Spanish too, but like when I go for interviews for jobs, I put that I am bilingual. And she stirred up the cards a lot, so not much communication to eye contact. And she used a lot of resources.
Okay. I like the attention device. I thought it maybe went on just one or two sentences too long, but it was fine. There's no preview in the speech, so I agree with Raul on that. It did feel to me like you were kind of just randomly going through the information. In fact, I got sets of statistics about the number of Hispanic speakers, the projections on Hispanics, the number of people who speak Spanish at home in at least 3 different places in the speech. So it just seemed like I was kind of spinning around and coming back to the same point over and over again. I could use an argument that tells me how teaching Spanish in elementary schools would work and be practical, that we could afford to do it. I got to be honest with you, we have a hard enough time teaching kids one language, much less trying to teach them 2 languages. So the idea that it would be a practical thing to do, I think, is probably the main barrier on this. It is good for kids to learn a language when they're young. It's going to be easier for them, and they start practicing it earlier on, and they're going to have more experience with it. And that's, I think, a good idea. I like the visualizations that you came up with. You've got some good personal examples to illustrate those points. I like the citation of the information that you came up with. Like I said, though, it does seem a little repetitive. I didn't have quite as big an issue with the eye contact as Raul did, but I did notice that you got as far away from the audience as you could. You backed up into that corner and decided, I'm just going to speak here. And it seems to me like, when you start off with such an assertive way of speaking with the language, that it just contradicts your behavior there. Your nonverbal behavior is undermining this. You want, I'm proud that I can do these kinds of things. I want you to do that sort of thing, but I'm going to be over here while I'm talking to you, and it just feels like you've backed away from us. All right, thank you.